YouTube Ozic, go in the Goat House is back with Week 17 bold predictions. 1 week left in the regular season. Playoffs start next week. We got all kinds of content covering the NFL playoffs. Can't wait for that. Hopefully you can join us. To get involved in these bold predictions sent in by you guys, follow our Twitter. You can get more involved in videos like these, and you get constant NFL talk content. Bunch of polls are going to be coming out. A lot already did. Getting you guys involved in different videos. You guys will vote for playoff games as well. So you're going to want to follow that Twitter to get more involved and get more content. And then there's a link in the description and comments for that, as well as the Instagram podcast and Patreon where there's bonus content, the Sided app as well. If you're new, full NFL coverage, please subscribe, smash that like button. Let's go on to these bold predictions for Week 17. G-Bear sends in Mason Rudolph does not get hit in the head with a helmet. Man. You know, first glance at that, you know, I almost want to say it's happening, that he does not get hit in the head with the helmet. But he didn't say Myles Garrett. He didn't say it's by Myles Garrett, so it could be anybody. It could be Ogunjobi. It could be Sheldon Richardson. It can be, Baker Mayfield can run off the field. It can be Mason Rudolph's teammate. So it could be anybody. So that increases the chances a little bit there. I'm going to go ahead and say it's still happening, though. I don't know. Something tells me he's not going to get hit in the head with the helmet. Imagine if he did. What are the chances, I guess, Mason Rudolph and Myles Garrett have, some kind of, they get a little smack talk going. You know, I think there's a high chance of that. They have some words for each other. What are the chances maybe they get in a shoving match a little bit? Nothing too crazy. I don't expect anything crazy to happen. Maybe that's unlikely as well, but we'll be watching. So that's an interesting take there by Conky Ganem. Sizzle. Riz wins his Pick'em League. So if you didn't know, he's past me. He's winning. I don't know how I let that happen. The games that we've had different, the last 4 over the last 2 weeks, went his way. So I'm getting a little too cute, getting a little too fancy, and I'm choking. It's a major choke show out there. But let's be honest here. It's happening. We got a lot of different games. I went bold on quite a few. He went bold on quite a few. He's got the Bears beating the Packers. He's got the Broncos beating the Raiders. I got the Giants beating the Cowboys. I got the Eagles over Washington, but I'm still 50-50 on that one. Depends on who plays. I'm down 1. We're gonna pull it off. Or I don't know. It's going to be a major choke if I don't pull it off. So we'll see what happens. Can't wait for playoff picks, though. Can't wait for the playoff picks. That's a good one by Sizzle there. Owen Witt, Seahawks get the number 1 seed in the NFC. Ooh, so the Packers got the 1 seed right now. The Saints got the 2. The Seahawks are 3. All 3 have a shot. Seahawks need the Packers to lose to the Bears. Packers are favorites for a reason, but it's possible. The Bears are red hot right now. And then they need the Saints to lose to the Panthers, which I don't really see. But maybe the Saints don't play because Drew Brees is coming back from an injury a few weeks ago. Maybe they don't play him every single snap, but I think he's got to play majority of the game at least. Do I want to go piping for this? Or do I want to go hot? It's a tough one. I think I'm going to call it piping because 2 things, Packers and Saints both need to lose. I can see maybe one of them losing. I don't see both. Could say hot because, again, the Bears are hot. It's a must-win for them pretty much. So they can, it's hard to beat a team twice, so they can pull off the upset on the Packers. And then, again, the Saints maybe could pull their starters, but they're playing for a 1 seed. They're thinking about, I don't think they're going to pull their starter. I think that's piping. I don't think both teams – I got both teams winning – that being the Packers and the Saints. So both losing, I think is pretty piping. I think the Seahawks will win. They'll play the Niners. I think all of those teams will win. But we can't predict every game right, So something wild's probably going to happen. I talked about this, through the NFC and the AFC. There's a lot of teams that have a must-win situation. A lot of teams, is how it goes in Week 17 in the NFL. Somebody's going to blow it. We know it. I don't know who it's going to be. None of us know who it's going to be. Somebody, at least one team, is going to blow it. Who's it going to be? I don't know. Whether it's missing the playoffs or blowing a 1 seed or 2 seed, whatever it is. And that's why I can't wait to see who blows it. That's the big storyline. Who is going to blow it? Matt says Bears, Seahawks, and Saints win. So the Saints get the 1st seed. So instead of the Seahawks, who have the 3 currently, are sitting behind Packers and the Saints, Saints get the first seed. So they need a win against the Panthers. Very doable. They need the Packers to lose to the Bears. Again, the Packers are favored for a reason. I predicted them to win. They're supposed to win, but the Bears are hot. Hard to beat a team twice where the Packers couldn't do it against the Vikings twice for some reason. That could have been a fluky thing. But who knows? The Bears could beat the Packers. So I'm going to go. That's tough. Between hot and warm. I don't know if I want to call this warm because warm's kind of getting close to realistic. I really don't think the Packers are going to lose, but they could. I want to say hot, but I'm close to saying warm here. The Saints got a shot. Packers are just rolling right now. Look like arguably the best team in football, perhaps. Best team in the NFC for sure right now. Who knows? Somebody could sneak up on them. All depends on matchup in the playoffs. It's a good one, though. It's a good one. From Kareem Hunt, Pro Bowl kicker. The Ravens missed the playoffs. I'm gonna say this is. I'm gonna say it's piping. The Ravens win. They're in. They're playing the Bengals, and I know the Bengals are hot right now. So maybe it's a little bold of me to say piping and not just hot, but because the Bengals are playing really good ball, they got some good game plans. Really don't know what they're gonna throw at you at this point. Ryan Finley, Brandon Allen. You don't know. When Ryan Finley was in, they ran a lot of read option. I think it's going to be Brandon Allen, of course, but just don't know what they got going. But Ravens are hot. This offense is rolling. They're going to score too many points for the Bengals to keep up. But I also think the Ravens defensively match up very well against the Bengals offense. I think they're going to play their game. They're going to blitz. They're going to provide pressure, a little more pressure than these last few teams have been able to get on the Bengals. So on top of the Ravens being very good right now at the top of their game, not only that, but they're just a much better team trying to get into playoffs, just winning in. You don't have to worry about other teams. And on top of that, the matchup sides with the Ravens very much so. So, yeah, I think it's pretty piping. Again, though, somebody is going to blow it. At least one team is going to blow it. A lot of these teams that need to win, I think we expect most of them to win, except for the Dolphins because the Bills are hot. But now it sounds like the Bills might either sit starters completely or play them for like a quarter or a half. So now it looks like all the teams that really need to win are pretty much favorites besides maybe the Bears and the Rams. You could argue need a win. So it doesn't look like, I don't know, if the Bears lose to the Packers, I don't know if we're going to consider that blowing it. I guess if you win, you get in. So kind of, but I think out of the teams that just for sure we expect to win, I think somebody's going to blow it. So who's it going to be? We're going to find out. Sports Network, Ryan Fitzpatrick comes in for Tua again and wins a fourth quarter squeaker. So a tight game decided by 3 points or less. This is a good one because I don't know what Fitzpatrick probably should be starting the game, but I don't know what their thinking is. Like Tua's going to go out when he's won a lot of games. He could play good enough here. How many starters are going to be in for the Bills? It's a tough one to answer. I'm gonna say I would love to go piping, but I'm gonna say hot. For some reason, I don't think Fitzpatrick comes in this game. I'm starting to think the Bills don't go full starters the whole game. So I think Tua, and we're gonna wait till some last second announcements, but I could be switching my pick to the Miami Dolphins because of that. It really depends on Josh Allen. If Josh Allen's not playing a full game, or if he's not playing at all, I'm going with the Dolphins there. So I have a feeling they're going to ride Tua out too, even if it's a close game. A lot needs to happen here. But if Fitzpatrick comes in, they're feeling it. Like if they maybe they have the game plan of Tua's going to play 3 quarters or whatever, and that's just in their head. He's just actually the closer, and they fully expect him to be in. Who knows? I can't wait to see what happens in this game if the Bills go all out, secure that 2 seed. And if the Dolphins put Fitzpatrick in, it's an interesting game. It's an interesting game for sure. I know other teams are going to be watching this game, like the Colts. The Colts not only need a win, but they need one of a group of team to lose, and I think their best shot is the Dolphins losing, so they'll be watching this one closely as well. A lot of storylines this week. Cannot wait. J&C, Mitch Trubisky, and Sam Darnold show they can be next year's starters. It's a tough one, too, because show to who? Show to their team. For me, I've seen enough from these guys to know that it really shouldn't be like the plan going forward. And like they shouldn't, for me, they shouldn't be starters really because, for me, if you're looking if you're looking for a start, I mean, you're trying to win Super Bowls. You're trying to make a deep playoff run. Every team's trying to be great, every year. So I don't think these are the answers. They show me enough, and quarterbacks don't really change. They don't at all. I can't really name a quarterback that's really changed. Talk about some that improved slightly or from rookie year. I suppose these guys aren't rookies, though. But at the same time, you can't really snap your fingers and find a better quarterback. It's a tough one to answer. Because for me, that they really shouldn't be planned as the starters just after these games. Trubisky could play good against Packers. That'll be great. Darnold could play good against a good defense. That'll be great. But they shouldn't really be locked in as the starters. Will their teams lock them in, though? They really shouldn't. I don't think so. They could have a plan that maybe they'll be the starters, but you always got to do your homework in the offseason. You never know what's going to happen. If a free agent, you actually have a shot to getting them. You might clear some space. You can possibly keep trade options open in the draft. Maybe a guy falls to you. I don't know how to answer. I'm gonna say hot. I don't think it depends. Yeah, it's hard. It's a tough one to answer. I think these guys could. I guess both these guys could be those teams' starters next year. I think that's more realistic. It's tough to say. I don't think they show it in this game. I don't think they make it locked in. That's kind of what it sounds like. I don't think they lock it in. Even if they play great, Trubisky has the game of his career, Darnold has the game of his career. I don't think they lock it in. I don't think it should be locked in. That's an interesting one to think about too. I think teams kind of settle too much. Maybe these teams could be doing that. I just think we've seen enough. I think we've seen enough from these guys. And of course, it's not that easy to find somebody better. So they may be kind of having to go at these guys. Interesting to think about which one would I rather have, Mitchell Trubisky or Sam Darnold? That's totally different than what this says, but that's just something I thought of. I don't know which one I would rather have. I might actually go Trubisky. Which one I would rather have. I think if you polled people, I think they would say Darnold. I think the Bears fans would definitely. I mean, that's obvious. I think would say Trubisky. I think that's an interesting something to think about, though. Darnold sees ghosts, so I don't know, but that's interesting. Both very well could end up being the starters next year. We will see if they can pull it off this weekend. Even for Darnold, they're not playing for much, but he's playing against a good Patriots defense that he struggled against. That's who we saw ghosts against, so we'll see what he can do. From Hasty, Giants make the playoffs. Pretty straightforward stuff here, but why I use this one, why I thought it was interesting is, so from the NFC East, 3 teams could possibly win the division, make the playoffs, and only one of those can make it. Obviously, we're not going to see. Everybody knows the drill. No, we're not going to see 2 NFC East teams. We're going to see one for sure. And those 3 teams are the Washington football team, who's currently in the lead, the Cowboys and the Giants. Of course, the Giants and the Cowboys play each other. Washington plays the Eagles. And of those 3 teams, I don't really see anybody talking about the Giants winning the division. It's either Washington's going to win and they're going to be in, or the Cowboys are going to beat the Giants because the Cowboys are hot and Washington's going to blow it and Cowboys are going to get in. That is really all people are talking about. In my current picks, again, it's probably the only one that's been like this all year. The Washington Eagles one is 50-50 for me still. I really didn't lock anything in, but I did pick the Eagles. But it depends on who's in, who's out. So we'll keep you updated on that, what I end up picking. But I had the Giants winning. It's a 50-50 game. Could go either way. It's kind of a gut feeling here. But I do like their defense. People are forgetting they got a good defense, and Daniel Jones, I think, can make enough plays. He's got to take care of the ball. The Cowboys been getting turnovers. They've been making plays on defense. He's got to take care of the ball. But sometimes they get so safe with the ball that they can't score points. You got to go out and give it your all offensively against this Cowboys defense because it's getting better, but you could still, you still could beat them. Come on. So yeah, I use this one because currently I have the Giants making the playoffs and nobody is talking about it. But at the same time, me having this, I'm not like overly confident about it, mainly because Washington Eagles came back and forth on that. I'm going to call it realistic though. And I just based on what other people around the league are saying, media are saying, it almost sounds like Giants don't even have a shot. It's crazy. A couple weeks ago, the media is talking about Joe Judge, the coach of the year, and the Giants are going to the playoffs. And maybe it was more than 4 or 5 weeks ago. You go from one extreme to the other. And I think people forget. That's a big problem for media. A big problem for fan bases. They forget too easy. You forget about things way too easy. You let the last couple weeks decide things in your head, and then the complete opposite starts happening again, and then you decide that in your head. It's the beauty of the NFL. It's kind of back and forth. You can't get locked into certain ideas in your head. So don't sleep on the Giants. I can't wait for those games. I can't wait for every game. Nathan, John Wolford outplays Kyler Murray in an upset win and leads the Rams to the playoffs. I picked the Cardinals in a game that somewhere around 50-50, a little more towards the Cardinals, but pretty close. Anything can happen. We've seen Murray or the Cardinals, I should say, lose to Beathard last week, a bunch of backups of the Niners, and Wolford being the second string behind Goff here playing against them, and maybe Kyler Murray a little beat up. But I picked the Cardinals, but at the same time, I do think this is realistic. I don't think, couple things here. Well, here's the problem against this. The reason for the Rams and why Wolford could do it is that the team doesn't really win because of their quarterback. I guess when Goff takes care of the ball and plays well, he threw for 350 yards last time he played the Cardinals, took care of the ball, they won and they played good. So you can argue that way that if he plays very well, but they don't rely, they don't win because of their quarterback. Really, they win because of their defense and their playmakers. So there's not a whole bunch of pressure. It's just a little bit of pressure. Just take care of the ball, mainly, though, for Wolford, and they can win. But you got guys like Darrell Henderson going to be out. We'll see what Cam Akers' situation. But Cooper Kupp is going to be out now. So that you can argue myself there. But they can win. Kyler Murray is not playing his best ball right now. He had that bad interception. Those pop up quite a bit lately. They're very inconsistent as a team. We don't know what offense is going to show up. We don't know what Kyler Murray is going to show up. We don't know what Cliff Kingsbury is going to show up. We don't know what defense is going to show up, what pass rush is going to show up, what Budda Baker is going to show up, the elite playmaker or, what. So a lot of questions when it comes to the Cardinals. I think it's realistic. I picked the Cardinals to win. I'm sticking to that, mainly because a lot of the guys that are out for the Rams, if so many guys weren't out, then it would be interesting. But they can win with straight defense. You see the Niners pretty much won with defense against the Cardinals. The Rams might have the best defense in football. So I think it's realistic. I can't say it's happening because I picked the Cardinals, but we will see. A lot on the line with that one. From Graham Peterson, Chad Henne has the game of his life with 300-plus yards and 4 touchdowns. This one's a pretty interesting, too. A lot of people put, specific ones with yards, and I'm not really a huge fan of those, and this isn't too specific, but I like this one because you always wonder, and we kind of got to see it last year, but people wonder, Mahomes, Mahomes is great. He's elite talent. He's the best player in football overall. Was he this year? That's a different video, I suppose, next week, but yeah, great player. There's no doubt in that for me. No arguing that for me. But there's a lot of people that say he wouldn't be as good without his weapons, or any quarterback can throw. There's a lot of those people out there. So I guess this could kind of, I don't think it really answers it, but I think it kind of can give those people an idea, or some people an idea that, if other quarterbacks can thrive. I think everyone's in agreement that Mahomes is great and better than that maybe. But it gives an idea. Matt Moore played pretty well. I remember, against my Vikings, he played extremely well last year and beat them. He had some pretty good games, so in a pretty highly productive, statistic-wise game. So Chad Henne can come in there and do it. It depends on what his weapons are. Maybe they'll sit some of the weapons out as well. But I think this is pretty piping to play this good of a game, just kind of get thrown in there, play this good of a game. And I'm more of a Matt Moore guy. I don't know. I actually always liked Matt Moore as a backup whenever he got the chance to go in. Maybe like a Fitzpatrick type of guy. Maybe not too magical, but I always liked Matt Moore. Nothing against Chad Henne. I don't think he's going to do similar things to what Matt Moore did last year, though, and he can have a somewhat productive day. He could win the game against Chargers, who knows? I did pick the Chargers, though, and I'm going to stick to that. Chargers played a pretty good defensive game against the Broncos last week. Pretty impressive. I noticed the Broncos are kind of hit or miss on offense. They got some playmakers, though. They got some weapons. So, yeah, I don't think this happens. I think it's pretty piping, but it's a pretty interesting – it's probably one of the least interesting games maybe, because just compared to the playoff implicated games, but it is pretty interesting to see how a different quarterback can do in there, but will he have his weapons, and then one more here from Emmanuel. Deshaun Watson throws another kind of specific one, but I kind of like it, kind of in my head thinking about this one. Deshaun Watson throws for 350-plus yards and leads Texans to upset the Titans. I actually think, do I go warm or realistic? This has been in the back of my mind that the Texans could beat the Titans. I think the Titans, I picked the Titans to win. They should win. They feel like they're one of the best offensive football. They feel like they're for sure a playoff team and should win the AFC South. But the Texans made it close last time. Titans always make things interesting. Deshaun Watson always plays very well against the Titans. I really think the Titans gonna win, but something tells me it's gonna be close. I am gonna say warm. It's pretty warm. It's borderline realistic that it could happen. Can the Titans? They got to win, though. They got to win. There's no reason the Titans. Again, I think it'll be close. It's a little scary, a little bit of a trap game. There is no reason the Titans shouldn't win this game. The Texans having, I think, an historically bad run defense. That's perfect for the Titans. Just go out there, control the game, control the time of possession, dominate them on the ground, pass when you need to. Don't get cute. Don't get fancy. Win the game. So the Titans should win the game. So I think Deshaun Watson lights him up, though. Unless, the 350 yards. I think it's very realistic there. The game's going to be close because of that. But what's stopping Watson from getting that many yards is if the Titans just run the ball, and they can do that. They can do that. Start with the ball, too. Last week, they kicked off to the Packers. The Packers started at the 40-yard line. Immediately, I hated it. I hated all of it. Don't do stupid stuff like that. Don't dig yourself a hole. Maybe you can't control the coin. You can't control the coin toss, but if you can control getting the ball first. So get the ball, run, drain that clock. Win the time of possession on the first drive of the game. Sometimes the Texans, even against bad defenses, start a little slow. So if that played out that way, that would be the reason why Deshaun Watson doesn't get a lot of yards. So that would be something to watch for, I guess, in that area there, why that couldn't happen. So a lot of good ones here for the bold predictions. I'm very, very, I can't wait to see if any of these happen. I just can't wait for this weekend. We're going to have you covered live during games on Twitter, just constant talk. We have a podcast episode out. We'll tweet the link once it goes out. We'll try to get it up as a video as well, but kind of recapping the early afternoons and the late afternoon games, and then that's gonna be up right before the Sunday night game and talk about matchup. We're gonna talk about all kinds of stuff, so it's gonna be a cool one there. So, we got you covered. Insane amount of content coming out next week, for the playoffs and more there, of course. So you're gonna want to join us for that. You're gonna want to smash that like button, subscribe, turn notifications on so you don't miss any of that I just listed off there. But yeah, that's gonna do it for this one. Thanks everyone for playing along. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.